The two most important days in a human's life is the day that they are born and the day that they find out why.
This was a quote from Mark Twain, an American novelist and writer. Ever since I have first heard this quote, I have vastly wondered about the ending of it, and what exactly is the reason I was put onto earth, and why I am here. I was able to succeed and strive throughout most of my life, setting myself up to be able to go to college, in case I decided to. After ending my K-12 career with a 3.25 GPA, I decided it would be of my best interest to apply for college and was fortunate enough to be accepted into IUPUI and have been studying here since. After a couple of weeks of registering and touring around the campus, I drove myself to study the thing in which I would need in order to achieve what I consider to be my dream as of now. And after spending nearly 3 months within this C180 class of interpersonal communications, I am now able to help answer this question in which I have asked myself for so long. Throughout the course of the semester, I came in with the mindset of wanting to major in communications, since I was good at the subject when I went to high school at Decatur Central. From here I developed my love of working with production and videos. I decided at this point that I wanted to go into the radio industry, becoming a radio personality that you hear most of the time during long car rides or small ones to work, such as Smiley in the Morning. I decided I wanted to engage more with the class and philosophy behind things, such as the Johari window, which features 4 different perceptions of the self and recognizing these throughout myself as well as within the future. This was one idea I had prior experience with, but was fortunate enough to have a better grasp of, in the words of George Jones, the second time around. One aspect I found to be very useful from the course was listening and the ways in which people tend to listen to someone when they are communicating. I remember doing an activity in which I learned listening styles of certain individuals that I was interviewing and how each style comes with its own pros and cons. I concluded that people tend to have multiple listening styles, and it takes certain scenarios and the context behind them to influence both the word choice that we use and the way that we choose to listen to that person based off of their tone and understanding of the situation that's at hand. I would later learn how mindful listening can get you far, like a vehicle that's been taken care of and well maintained, whereas mindless listening is the root to most conflict or issues that comes to the individual later on down the line in the tree that is communication. Another concept I have had a major benefit in learning throughout this class would be the context of what makes up the people within a conversation. A big factor behind this was learning about the culture and sex that influences the type of communication that one has with someone. Throughout each chapter of the class, starting at chapter 1, in which talked about the interpersonal process, all the way to chapter 12, which dealt with conflict and resolutions. Each of these chapters had a vast concern for the individual based off their sex and culture, in which they as an individual possess. A prime example of this concept was the understanding of Erin Brockovich and her character within the movie Erin Brockovich, in which showed some conflict and aroused issues, which the cause of the problem was sex within the few scenes in the movie, such as the courtroom scene. This movie also showed different scenes in which, at different points in the movie, left a lot of conflict based around culture. For example, the separation of her son and her family that Erin deals with throughout the movie, as well as from the lawyer Ed, in which she is partnered with throughout the majority of her case, and also George, who tends to be her significant other throughout the majority of this movie. In conclusion, I could see these being major assets that I can use throughout my time through volunteering through charity drives in which I participate with at Riley's Children's Foundation, as well as using these skills throughout my job in future to help build myself up for the better. After all, Mr. Mike said it best by saying that no matter what you do, you will always have to do some sort of communication, showing that you already use communication in your day-to-day life, so why not have a better understanding of communication in terms in which you can use to further yourself down the road within a positive or a negative way. After successfully having a better understanding of the concept of interpersonal communication, there is no doubt that I will stick with wanting to learn more about communication, and because of this now have a better understanding of why I was placed here on Earth, and answering my question that I asked myself in the very beginning of this digital storytelling project. To leave a mark on the world, and most importantly, to leave a positive feeling for all the listeners of my shows that I will make and produce in the future.